Hey, Hail Stalkers, thanks for joining us on this Monday evening. Another Monday that we are talking about severe storms in Denver. This was happening almost 7 days ago to the hour, and we have another severe thunderstorm warning that's headed into Denver right now. Now, this is just, and the bulk of this is going to be to the north of 25, to the north of this highway right here that runs diagonal through the city, just to the west of 25. We have a brand new severe thunderstorm report or local storm report. So let's see what size hail that is. We've got a 1-incher right here. Now this hail report, again, for 1 inch in size, that's what this storm is warned for. So severe thunderstorm or National Weather Service, they warned this storm for 1-inch size hail, and that's exactly what we have in the Arvada area. No, technically it's in Wheat Ridge, so it's going to be just to the west of Arvada. So Jefferson County, this happened at 3:16, so about 12 minutes ago. This is not the only severe thunderstorm warning that's ongoing right now, but the storm, it's moving pretty slow. So whatever hail we do get is going to be most likely a lot of hail. Very similar to what we saw last Monday. That was a lot of hail that we got in Denver. Now, this severe thunderstorm warning is issued for 1.2 million people. Denver, Lakewood, Thornton, Westminster, all included in the warning. It goes until 4 o'clock, so we've got another half hour on this severe thunderstorm warning. But again, as I mentioned earlier, it's not the only one. It's not the only game in town right now. We have another warning farther down to the south, so let's just trek down I-25 a little bit. Another severe thunderstorm warning again for 1-inch size hail for Centennial, Lone Tree, Parker, and the Pinery. Again, this is 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts and 1-inch size hail. If I zoom out a little bit, you can see just how many storms we have ongoing across the state right now. Another one, let's see what this is warned for, highlighted there in yellow. Warned for, and we have some confirmed reports with this, 1-inch size hail. I'm actually surprised we're only going with 1-inch size hail right now because really, I would expect these storms at this point in the day to be producing larger hail. Did you guys know the Storm Prediction Center today said they are expecting hail upwards of 4 inches in size? It's insane. I mean, it's larger than a baseball by quite a bit. It's closer to the size of a softball. We do have confirmed storm reports on this 1-inch size hail just to the north of Carval. I hope I'm saying that correctly. Technically Pumpkin Center, that's where that was reported. And a brand new severe thunderstorm warning. This is just outside of Golden, Colorado. We've actually been watching this area multiple times today because we expected this first storm to go severe outside of Golden. Now we have a second storm. Both of these warnings for 1-inch size hail and 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, about 40,000 people included in that warning. So we've got now over 1.5 million people included in warnings across across Colorado. Most of that includes this Denver severe thunderstorm warning right here. Now we're going to toss it over to Martin here in just a minute, but before we do we have any weather questions first? Some people asking about Minnesota, Texarkana. We're going to stay in Colorado at the moment. So I'm going to toss it over to meteorologist Martin Lowrimore. Now, Martin, your radar is much more detailed than mine. You actually use the same type of radar that our mapping meteorologists use behind the scenes whenever they are mapping severe weather at hailtrace.com. Tell me what you see from your side of things.
I mean, well, it's really already seeing a lot of these storms, but I can tell you one thing, a lot of lightning has been the big thing. So I'm going to actually pull up mine real quick so we can actually get a better view of what's going on with mine. So, 1 second. All right, so as we look at this storm, I'm actually going to pull up our what we call GR Earth because it shows our lightning. Just look how much lightning is in these storms. So many strikes out here. Granted, these little lightning strikes is actually just like occasional lightning every 0 to 1 minutes. So that's pretty frequent right there. So we're going to be seeing this continue to develop as we get a little closer at our more in-depth radar. We can see very high levels of reflectivity already making their way across the northern portion of your Denver metro. Got some good pinks in there right now. Still warned for 1-inch hail, 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts, so only that garden variety. They're not moving relatively quick either. They're staying at around 20, 15 miles an hour as they roll their way over. So we could see developing flash flooding threat as well. But of course, our biggest thing right now at this very moment is going to be our hail, because as Taylor was saying, National Weather Center was saying that we are going to be looking at the possibility of up to that 4-inch hail. So we could be seeing some pretty large hail coming in the Denver metro very, very soon. So let's actually pull up one of our tube panel here so we can get a look inside these storms using our correlation coefficient. Correlation coefficient, if you don't know, what this does is it basically looks at the size of the meteor, the hydro meteor, rain, hail, snow, whatever you call it. And with these areas of yellow, maybe a little bit of the blues and greens starting to pop in there as well, that is showing that we're starting to see bigger objects. So we're seeing actually a couple of these pockets here between Berkeley and North Washington. See this correlation perfectly with high reflectivity and lowering of the correlation coefficient. This means we're starting to see some pretty sizable, at this point, hail is what we're seeing with a lot of these storms. You want to look for the perfect correlation between the high levels of reflectivity and the lowering of our correlation coefficient. So just outside of Westminster, not Westminster, but Westminster. That's the exact same thing I said before. Anyways, again, seeing that low dropping of the correlation coefficient, some of the green, a little bit of the blue popping in there as well with these purples, we might be seeing some decently sized hailstones with this. I wouldn't be surprised if they start bumping this up to start including $half, maybe ping pong sized hailstones. It wouldn't shock me in the slightest if we do see this warning get updated, but still hanging out at 1 inch for those hailstones. Moving a little bit further south, we are also watching and seeing this higher reflectivity, lowering of the correlation coefficient just near Castle Pines to the south of Denver. But just to the north of the metro, that's going to be probably where I would say our biggest crossover of high population and high chance of getting some hailstones. I think this is going to be our cell we're going to be watching. And of course, this one just behind it, it is a little bit lesser than the one ahead of it, but it also is a pretty much brand new thunderstorm, so it's still got some development it can go through. Granted, it's kind of following the pathway of this first cell. Commerce City might be getting some decent little hail. You can see that big jump up in the reflectivity. Meanwhile, you're looking at that correlation coefficient dropping off pretty substantially near Commerce City. This was an area that actually got hit not too long ago either. So let's see if they bumped up a little bit. No, still staying for 1 inch as of right now. Let's see, I'm going to check real quick to see if we have any new reports. Still only 1 inch reports. There's one that just came out from the public in Wheat Ridge. It's a suburb of Denver. This is just ahead of that initial 1 inch report that we had. So we haven't had any come in from Commerce City just yet, but I'm curious to see what we're going to be seeing. You can see these little pockets here of the blues and yellows. That's where we're going to be seeing that best chance for seeing hail as these drop-offs in the correlation coefficient mean we're going to be seeing the bigger hydrometeor, the hail. Newest one here actually just put in a little bit more widespread yellows and a couple splotches of green and blue. What we're looking at now is probably just more of a widespread medium to small hail, small severe hail, I should say, not your 1 inchers, your 1 1/4, 1.5 inchers. That's what we're looking at over toward Commerce City. Westminster, Minster, still looking at a big drop off in the correlation coefficient. But as of right now, still seeing these storms with drop off of that correlation coefficient. Still got that higher reflectivity. And this one is, luckily we are still a decent ways away from the radar, so we are only about 1,500 feet above the ground, 1,400 feet above the ground. So we are getting a good, amount. Oh, actually, let's realize. There we go. But we are getting a really good view of this storm rolling into Denver. I actually want to check real quick just to see if we might have a little bit of, I'm going to pull up our rotations. So we don't have much of an inflow. There could be some strong gusts with this. But I think right now probably that hail is going to be our biggest risk right now. Still moving at 20 miles an hour, Taylor. Yeah, these things are moving slow.
Yeah, it's definitely a slow mover right now. Now, we're watching for a lot of things here, but I want to talk about something that we're seeing in our meteorology chat. If you want to pull this radar larger on the screen, Martin, thank you. I appreciate that. One thing that we're seeing over here that our meteorologists behind the scenes are talking about is that we see this storm starting off, okay, just initially as one supercell, but very quickly it may appear on this type of radar to be a little cluttered, but what's actually going on now is we're seeing some signs of this thing splitting. And actually just within the last radar scan, we're seeing this very, very clearly now, is that we're seeing this start to split into two different supercells. And I think with this next severe thunderstorm warning, we could actually go two ways. We could have one severe thunderstorm warning for Thornton and then all the way out to the east, and then another one for Broomfield as this makes more of a northward turn. Now, one thing that did make a northward turn is this storm that's farther down to the southeast of Denver. This is in Aurora, or headed into Aurora, Colorado. Again, still only warned for 1-inch size hail and 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, but a ton of people are included in this severe thunderstorm warning. A third of 1 million people. Oh my gosh. I mean, that's a lot of people. We not only have this severe thunderstorm warning, we've got another one right through the heart of Denver. We've got another one that's coming into Denver that's out in Golden right now, but it's coming into the city. It may hit just south of the first one, where the first one hit. What is this one? Let's see what this is warned for that's farther down to the south. Okay, we officially have our first storm in Colorado that is warned for significant hail, 1.5 inches. That is the size of a ping pong ball, so you can really see how these discrete or isolated away from the pack, right? This one is out on its own. That's whenever you really start to get the hailers. So I'm wondering, do conditions today, is it enough for these storms in Denver to start producing larger hail? Or is there already too much crowding going on where it's going to be very difficult for that larger hail to happen in Denver itself? I mean, is there too much crowding, or could we get enough of an inflow right here? Is this one isolated enough? I think that's our big question here, is what are we going to see in terms of hail size? I mean, we've already gotten a few hail reports right here near Arvada. Aurora, we'll go back to you guys in just a minute. So again, quarter-size hail is all that's been reported so far, but we've seen a lot of it. I mean, a lot of people have reported that so far, and this storm is ongoing, and then we've got another one behind it. Look, you can see even more storms behind this first one. We've got more hail coming your way, so this could be an area that's been hit multiple times. Okay, let's go back down to Aurora. We saw that question from you earlier. Aurora, right along 235, and just to the west of there, that's going to be your strongest area of the storm. So right near Sullivan, it looks like maybe this is, I'm just kind of guessing here, is this the town center? 1-inch size hail, 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. That's what it's warned for right now. It's moving to the northeast at about 30 miles an hour. So it's one of our faster moving storms. And let me actually, I'm going to go over to my GR and I'm going to see, I mean, this is one of our newer storms. I'm going to see if I can find the core of where we're probably getting hail. Okay, if I were to bet where we're getting hail right now, is this the most updated loop? Nope, it's not. Okay, let me pull in the most updated information. There we go. Ooh, look at that. Look at the storm down to the south. That really intensified. But let's go back into Aurora. Let's really talk about that. This is the area that I would expect the largest hail to be falling. Right here. Between Sullivan and Aurora, right along the highway. So this is where, I mean, this storm really intensified. Again, there's nothing to the south of it, so it's got a decent inflow. 225. That is where I expect the largest hail to be right now inside of this storm. I mean, you can see it based on reflectivity, but I can see it on my side as well. We can see these bright colors, I mean, really just lighting up the screen, indicating to us that we are seeing some large hail right in this area. So great question. You guys put your weather questions in the comments section and we'll try to get to all of them that we can. So that question was from Hannah. tuning in from Aurora, when will you get the worst part? So I guess to answer that right now, this will probably last for 20 minutes. Probably won't last long, but the hail will last just long enough. There's enough hail, it could cover the ground. It could be a decent amount of hail with this storm, but we haven't gotten any confirmation. Evan asks, when will the hail leave Denver? When will it get out of the city? Well, Evan, you have a while, because let me tell you, you've got this storm right now that's moving to the northeast. It's a pretty slow mover. This severe thunderstorm warning goes until 4 o'clock, so we've got another 17 minutes left on this warning. But you're not done there. You have another severe thunderstorm warning, another severe thunderstorm or two behind this original one. So it depends on what side of Denver you're on. But I would say it's probably going to be an hour before we see Denver completely in the clear. Golden, Colorado right now is getting a ton of rain. We've got Genesee, I hope I'm saying that correct, is also getting a ton of rain and probably some hail with this one as well. We don't have any confirmation from this storm. It's just in its early days of forming. I think that we'll see this continue to intensify as it gets closer to I-25. Great questions on there. Where is the quarter size hail? So do you see these circles highlighted in green? I mean, it looks like hail. I think it does, but these are our local storm reports. 1-inch size hail just outside of Arvada near Wheat Ridge. And then we've got another 1-inch size hail report. This is also in Wheat Ridge. That came in at 3:24, so just a few minutes ago. And then another one just outside of, actually in Lakewood. So on the north side of Lakewood, you can see Lakewood down here. Actually, you can barely see that. And so this is just on the north side of Lakewood. Now, I can tell you that not all of these local storm reports are in the exact location of where they fell. Our meteorologists, though, they're watching, and you guys can get that hail map at hailtrace.com if you want an exact location. But we'll move on here. What other questions do we have? Turn your volume up. We can.
That was me.
Okay. So you guys can still hear us, right?
You sound good. I just,
Please send the hail to Kansas City, Missouri. So while we're waiting for these storms in Denver to continue to move through the city, we'll come back to Denver here in just a few minutes. But let's first go to Kansas City and let's talk about what we're expecting for the rest of the evening. So what we're expecting here for Kansas City is mainly a wind threat. So here's your wind forecast for today. Salina, probably the best chance to get some strong wind. Actually, the Storm Prediction Center said something that I have not seen them say in a long time today. They said wind gusts possible from 80 to 100 miles an hour. It's pretty rare for them to say that. That is not a common thing for them to forecast. 80 to 100 miles an hour is possible with a storm system that's going to be moving through Kansas later on today. Right now, that current storm system, that is, let me show you where I think it's in southern Nebraska, if not far northern Kansas at the moment. We do have a tornado watch. Yeah, so just hugging the state line. The largest hail of the day fell in Nebraska. Look at this. I think we got a tennis ball size hail report. Someone in Nebraska in Beaver City said quarter to ping pong ball size hail started around 350. Hail grew around tennis ball size within the last few minutes. That's massive. But why am I telling you this if you were asking about Kansas City? That would be because this storm system right here that's in Arapahoe, Nebraska right now, this will continue to build down to the south, track to the east through the overnight hours. What we're expecting from this is something that could look like a derecho. I don't think it's going to be sustained long enough to technically be called a derecho, but it's the same type of system that it's basically a wind producer. Let me find my radar, and I'll show you what this could look like. Let's zoom right in there. So back up a little bit. Zoom down into storms that are firing right now, right? Okay, so these are the storms in northern Kansas and southern Nebraska that are ongoing right now. If we go forward a few hours, so this is 9, 10, 11 o'clock tonight, what this storm system does is it hugs I-70 and goes just to the north of I-70. So very, very low chances for severe weather to the south of I-70, but it's going to hit some of these big cities, right? Like Salina, Topeka, Lawrence, Manhattan. It's going to continue to track to the east, and it's going to be the overnight hours, very, very late tonight whenever it finally moves through Kansas City, probably between midnight and 3 a.m. It's very late into the overnight hours. But here's the thing with Kansas City. The hail risk is going to be very low. Actually, this thing really falls apart as it crosses the state line from Kansas into Missouri. A lot of rain is expected here, so if you need to water your plants, you may hold off. I think that the weather will bring you a lot of rain through the overnight hours. There's a low chance for hail in Kansas City. There's a much better chance for strong wind in Kansas City. Let's actually go through some of your severe weather risks here. This is actually tomorrow. Let's talk about today. Here's your tornado risk. You can see that we've got 2 areas of concern. One just to the east of Denver for storms that are ongoing right now. The second one for that line of storms that's going to push through the late night hours, again, including places like Salina and Manhattan and Lawrence. Kansas City, however, what are you guys in? The level 1 risk, just as the system is falling apart. If it holds together long enough, maybe it'll produce a tornado, but it's a very, very low chance. Still enough, you probably want to make sure you have multiple ways to get your severe weather alerts. Same thing with that hail risk. Pretty low risk for Kansas City to get hail. All right, what other questions do we have? Should we go back to Denver? I know we were talking about Denver earlier.
I had a couple questions about Denver.
Yeah, I mean, I like these reports. I'm very grateful for these reports.
Oh, yeah.
Josh says, I'm currently in Arvada right now. I didn't get above quarter-size hail. Most of it was pea-size. Set off the car alarm, but no dents to the cars. Thank you for your report, Josh. And can you tell me, am I saying that correctly? Is it Arvada? I think I remember talking to a roofer out of there, and that's what he told me, but pouring in Thornton. Yeah, this is going to be heavy rain. If you don't get any hail, it's going to be very heavy rain. Any other questions? Is there a tornado watch still? Yes. You guys still have an ongoing tornado watch highlighted there in pink. I know it's a little difficult to see, but I'll zoom out so you can see it a little bit better. Tons of people included in this watch. It goes until 9 o'clock Mountain Time tonight. 2 million people included in this one. If you go into Kansas, obviously just a few less people, but they've got storms exploding right now. Look at this. This one goes until 10 o'clock tonight. Again, that's for the Kansas side of things where they also have a tornado watch. All right, I'm going to toss it over to Martin now. Martin, do you want to go through? We just got a brand new severe thunderstorm warning. Tell us what this is warned for.
Turn on. All right, so yeah, I mean, if we've been looking at these storms, it's actually probably an update for what we're going to be seeing for the next little bit. So let me just get this taken on there real quick, and there we go. All right, so this new warning is kind of overlapping a few of the other warnings. So what this is more than likely going to be is kind of a new warning to cover all the others. And also I do want to note, this one is not for quarter size, this is for $half size. So we're seeing a bit of an uptick in the probable size that is going to be occurring with these storms. So this is kind of, as these two have kind of conglomerated into each other, there's still a bit of a split, though I don't think this is going to be a full splitting storm anymore. It kind of got absorbed back into the main bulk. So I think it tried to split, and it tried to split. That's about it. But this new warning right here, let's get some information from the National Weather Service about this one. So they are saying 8 miles northwest of Denver, moving east at a dreadful 15 miles an hour. I added the dreadful. 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts and half-dollar-sized hail. So it's a little bit more significant than just quarter size. You're talking about attacking on of a little bit more of that mass into those hailstones. Meanwhile, the one to the south also still being warned for that ping-pong-sized hailstone, also moving at a pretty dreadful 13 to 15 miles an hour. This is all now moving its way out of Denver, but we are still watching for this cell behind it. This one right here, while it is a little bit smaller, it's currently over at Golden. This one is currently aiming right basically for smack dab downtown Denver. Maybe it might still pass to the north, although it is kind of gaining its intensity over time. Actually, if we want to take a look inside the storm, we could see if this is actually developing currently. Yeah, it is currently developing. It's got some high reflectivity, very high into the atmosphere, meaning that we're seeing that updraft really taking over as of right now, which is meaning this storm is intensifying. So we will be watching that one pretty intently, as it is probably going to pass just to the north of downtown Denver. Moving over back to that other storm, 6 minutes remaining on several of these storms, so we're going to start seeing these severe thunderstorm warnings dropping. But with this new one, this covers this main cell that has made its way through the north side of Denver, north of I-70. So watching this one pretty closely. Still looking on the right side of your screen here, this drop off, these big blobs of green and blue. That is our place that we are watching most intently for the possibility of larger hail. That's when we were talking about their correlation coefficient. Larger objects, in this case hailstones versus your raindrops. So you got this little cluster just near Henderson. That's probably a good point that I would be looking at for sure. And just to the east of Adams City. This one's near Irondale, again, just to the northeast of the main part of town. The new radar frame just came through. Looks like still a lot of the yellow here. Any place that we're seeing the reds turning into yellow mixed with that higher correlation coefficient, that is an area that we're watching for seeing any kind of hail, just that severe hail enough to maybe just cause a couple little dings here and there, but nothing significant, because we're still only seeing for that 1 1/4 inch hailstone. Wind picked up in Thornton. Did we ever see where Thornton is, Taylor? Do you know? Did you ever look to see where that was at? I know they were getting rain earlier. Trying to find where that would be. Again, I'm gonna look for it, and then it's gonna be staring at me.
Yeah, you guys like to test us on our geography.
I'm about to say, we're always getting tested on geography out here.
And I feel like we should know this because we just covered Colorado. We just covered Denver this time yesterday.
It's just south of North Glen.
This time last week, not yesterday. June
Yeah,
1st.
Thornton, I think it's Thornton, isn't it? It is Thornton. I'm sorry. I've been saying Thornton the whole time. Thornton, that is going to be actually on the other side of this cell. So this cell was over Thornton not too long ago, but has now made its way past. You're still under that severe thunderstorm warning, and you are also watching for this new cell that is more likely going to be making its way in pretty soon. Just some heavy rain in Thornton. Yeah, you probably have this little nub that's kind of making its way through, so you might still be getting a little bit of leftovers, although this main cell has moved on past you. So you're not having to worry about this main cell, but this next one that is currently making its way toward Arvada, that is probably going to be where we're going to be watching for that next developing cell, though it is kind of making its way out of the warning, which normally whenever these storms do exit their own warning, they will tend to reissue the warning. So they haven't actually issued anything so far. It could still have a little bit of hail in it. It's not got a very good reflectivity signature, but it does have some drop-offs in correlation coefficient. So I'm not entirely sure if we've got active hail going on with this cell making its way in toward Arvada, but only time shall tell.
New warning actually just came out for this other cell that did have ping pong ball warning associated with it. They have also dropped it down to 1.25, that $half sized hailstone. So both of the newest, and more than likely, if they don't try to re-warn this one heading in toward Arvada, that's going to be probably our two warnings we're going to be watching very closely with these two individual cells, as this one will be expiring in 2 minutes, and this will also be expiring in 2 minutes. So we'll probably be dropping down to 3 warnings pretty soon. I could see them trying to warn maybe this one heading on toward Brighton. This is probably what was trying to split originally, Taylor.
Yeah, and it looks like that one that was to the south in Aurora kind of ruined their plans to split.
Yeah, I think
that they all kind of conglomerated into one big cell, and so I think that that's whenever things got a little messy. And I think that's also whenever we started to see the hail sizes either going down or just becoming completely reduced to no hail at all, because this doesn't look as impressive now as it did earlier. Daniel says Aurora is looking so dark right now. Yeah, I mean, these clouds, this heavy rain, it's going to block out that light. I think one of the good things about this is that it's just before the evening commute, so technically not in the evening commute quite yet. So I think that's a good thing for everyone who's going to be hitting the roads. Hopefully you can either get in between these two cells, or you can wait until this storm is done, because I know that's tough whenever you want to hit the roads, you want to head home from work, and then you're just stuck in all of this rain and hail as well. Let's actually go over to some of our cameras right now. We've got some live cameras that are looking at the Colorado roadways. I'm going to clean this up real quick. And show you what we're seeing outside right now. Okay, so this is along I-25, just 5 miles south of 84th Street, or 84th Ave, excuse me. Now it looks like cars are moving pretty decent on the roadways, but you can see that the roads are very wet. And so you're gonna get that road spray. People have slowed down at least a little bit. I've got another camera for you here that shows much more of a slowdown. This was in Brighton. If you guys are in Brighton, this one, I mean, was much more of a slowdown. Hang on 1 second, let me find this for you. By the way, let us know where you're watching from. Are you guys watching from inside Denver? Ooh, here's a nice, in Commerce City. Now, Commerce City, we've had lots of reports out of. Commerce City also just had that storm moving through. Now, we're either sitting at a traffic light or we are just stalled completely. And it looks like some people have their hazards on, so we'll see how fast people can get through here. But you can just see how long that line goes off in the distance. So many headlights. Also, to just reiterate what was said earlier, is that it's so dark right now. People are using their headlights at 4 o'clock in June. It's usually some of the brightest times of the day. But that is not what we're seeing. We're seeing some very, very dark conditions out there right now. So let's get to another camera here. And Martin, I saw that you pulled up a question earlier. I didn't get to it. What was that question?
Oh, just saying about Centennial starting to calm down a little bit. There's still some funky looking clouds,
some funky looking clouds.
With,
once these storms leave your area, you're kind of going to be underneath the storm itself, which you can actually see some of those really weird looking, almost very turbulent clouds.
Yeah, this is what we call scary looking clouds. However, the tornado threat's still there. Let's show this picture. Look at that in the top right hand corner of your screen. It does look really scary looking. And now this is looking to the east, or we're looking at eastbound traffic right here. This is on I-270, just about 1/10 of a mile to the east of Vasquez Boulevard. So a lot of people slowing down out there. I think even if you hit the road right now, you're going to have a slowdown. If you wait for the storm to be over, you're probably going to have a slowdown as well. I think that's just how it goes whenever the storm wants to come in right at the evening commute. We got some reports earlier that people are stopping under the overpass. You guys, that's a very, very dangerous place to stop. I understand whenever it's just pouring on you. Here's one overpass. Looks like people are moving okay, but they are moving very, very slow. Let's see what other questions we have.
I do want to note they just issued a warning for the cell that split to the north, but they only warned it for wind. 60-mile-an-hour winds, no mention of hail.
Let's go back over to the radar, but we'll keep this in the corner of the screen so that you guys can see it. Okay, here's a look at the radar. We've got some people just tuning in from other places that aren't just Denver. Thank you for watching us today. Let's talk about the new severe thunderstorm warning. So right now what we have is we have 3 severe thunderstorm warnings. We've got one that's going to the north outside of Denver, still with a ton of rain on it, 1-inch size hail and 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. Actually, this is what Martin was just talking about a few moments ago, that we're even seeing less than 1-inch size hail, so smaller than the size of a quarter, and 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. So this is what we call marginally severe, if even that. So it's your garden variety severe thunderstorm. So it's the typical storm that you see in the summer. A little bit of hail, maybe a little bit of wind. Now this storm that's closer to Denver itself, just on the east side of the city, is actually warned for larger hail. We're talking about half-dollar size hail, just barely bigger than the size of a quarter, and 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, still warned for 250,000 people. And then this storm that's off by itself in Castle Rock, warned for the same thing, half-dollar size hail and 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. That includes Elizabeth, Parker, Ponderosa Park, and the Pinery. This is an area that's seen, this storm hasn't moved at all. It's kind of sat in the same spot over the last hour since we started recording. Since we started this live, it's kind of sat in the same spot and has moved very, very slowly. That's something that I've seen as a trend with a lot of these storms today, is that they're moving very, very slow. Let's go all the way through here. Look at that last, okay, I mean, this is it. I know that you guys asked earlier, when is it going to stop storming in Denver? You guys may have some rain for a while, but this is not warned. The storm that came out of Golden, it's not warned. You're still going to have a little bit of hail with this one, but it's not looking as impressive as it did earlier, and they just took that significant or that larger hail warning off of it. So no longer half-dollar size hail. What we're looking for here is actually just quarter size hail, maybe if even that. So this is not looking very promising for hail anymore. That hail that we got earlier was just along the highway, just along I-70, anywhere from Arvada. Am I saying it correctly now? I think so.
They said Arvada.
Arvada.
Bad.
Like bad.
Like bad. Like Arvad. Arvad.
Arvada. Okay, Arvada. Okay, I got that correct. So it's actually just to the west of Arvada. 1-inch size hail in Wheat Ridge. 1-inch size hail in Wheat Ridge. So we've got 2 Wheat Ridge reports here. 1-inch size hail in Lakewood. 1-inch size hail in Golden. And 1-inch size hail in Virgin Park. And that's what we got today. Let's zoom back out. Do we have any more storms coming for Denver? Now we have a little bit of rain. I'm not too confident that this rain is going to produce anything severe, at least for Denver, maybe to the south of Denver, closer to Castle Rock. Before we hop off of here, I want to make sure that you guys know about the other hazards we have for the rest of the day. If you're watching from East Denver, if you're watching from eastern Colorado, so we're talking about I-70 to the north, we've got this severe thunderstorm warning to the south, we've got a whole line of storms that we're expecting to continue to move to the east, producing all hazards today, including that tornado potential, large hail still possible, and strong wind gusts. Actually, we've seen large hail already today from this storm right here. Tons of reports of large hail. Let's see how big we can get. So I know this is down in Castle Rock. Okay, 2.2 in Pumpkin Center. Very specific there. This must be a storm chaser. It's all along the road. We've got ping pong ball size hail. We can zoom down. Tons of hail reports here. Ping pong, 2 inchers, 1 inch, and 2.2 inch. So, oh, there we go, tennis ball size hail. Officially, we've gotten a tennis ball size hail report in Colorado today. Again, that was closer to Carvel or Carval. I'm not quite sure how you say that. And then these storms up in the city itself produced 1-inch size hail. Decent amount of it, especially back near Arvada and Golden, Colorado. Now, Martin, before we hop off of here today, do you have any other updates for us? All good in terms of updates?
No, okay.
Awesome.
I just had one thing to say. The
Okay.
cell behind Denver that's probably going to give Denver some rain. I was just checking a little bit of the meteorological background behind it. It's currently 65 behind it.
65.
I don't think we'll be seeing much severe weather
Yeah,
out of that one. Because
It's-
ahead of this storm, we're at 81.
Wow.
So I think the initial rain that came through with these initial storms really chewed into the atmosphere,
Yeah.
and that's kind of just killed all the opportunity for severe weather. Denver could get some rain though. There's a couple lightning bolts as well. I wouldn't be super shocked if we get some non-severe small, like pea marble sized hail, but when it comes to getting over 1 inch, I think it's going to be tough.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the temperatures. I'm watching Broomfield actually just within the last hour dropped from 73 degrees to 66 degrees. So we saw that 7-degree temperature drop just because these storms came through. So you may need your jacket after these storms came through as well as an umbrella. I think we're probably about done with our severe weather in Denver, but don't forget that we still have severe weather ongoing across the rest of the eastern portion of Colorado, specifically northeast. We will be watching for this line of storms right here that is currently in southern Nebraska, going to eventually head into the northern portion of Kansas. I think that these storms right here, okay, so they're just to the west of Concordia, Kansas. These storms right here are going to go severe at some point. They're going to intensify, strong enough to go severe. This line of storms is going to continue to track to the east across northern Kansas through the overnight hours, giving Kansas City probably a pretty early wake-up call around 12 to maybe 4 o'clock tonight. You guys are going to have storms in your area. It's a low chance for severe weather in Kansas City, but you can't rule out some strong wind gusts, 60 to 70, maybe 75 miles an hour. And a few tornadoes are possible as well as this storm system continues to track across the state. We've got many, many hours until we see that happen, probably about 7 hours until those storms approach Kansas City. Places like Topeka and Kansas City well after dark tonight, probably after the time you've gone to bed. So make sure that you have multiple ways to get your severe weather alerts. And look at that, we've got our first severe thunderstorm warning across the state line and into Kansas. We have another severe thunderstorm warning in McCook, Nebraska. So this is warned for, oh, hit the wrong button there. I think 60s and quarters. Yep, 60 mile per hour wind speed, quarter size hail. McCook, Nebraska, right along I-34. And our other two warnings outside of the Denver metro is one near Carvel and one near Castle Rock. That look a lot more impressive than this storm in Denver. This storm, just 60 and quarters. This is what we call marginally severe, just barely getting over that severe threshold. So since there is not confirmed hail on the ground with these storms, we're going to jump off of here. Thanks for joining us today. I'm meteorologist Taylor Cox, and you also heard from meteorologist Martin Lowrimore. We are live every single weekday at noon. So make sure you follow us, and sometimes on the weekends too. If there's a big enough severe weather risk, we will be live on the weekends. So follow us on all forms of social media: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. We're also on LinkedIn and Threads. And give us a call for a hail, wind, or tornado map at 855-334-4245 or email us at info@hailtrace.com. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you